Yo, huddle up, huddle up, huddle up,
Huddle up.
huddle up, huddle up, huddle up, huddle up,
Huddle up.
huddle up.
Huddle up, huddle up, huddle up, huddle up. Got episode 48 and a half of the Ravens Huddle. Felt it was very important to get this in real quick. It's the third day spent at training camp. But it was the first padded practice. So just wanted to speak on a few things that were noticed because this is the time when you're starting to see the competition levels rising. You're starting to see a lot more of the energy around everybody. You're starting to see guys get out there and really get after it. I want to speak about a few things noticed in the atmosphere amongst the players and stuff like that. And then want to dive into, start with a few players and things that I decided to keep the eye on this time who are don't get talked about as much as, and then creep into players that everybody knows and talks about and stuff like that. So we're gonna start a little bit differently because the first couple of visits, of course, you pay attention to all the big names and stuff like that. Try to pay as much attention as much as possible, but just want to get through that. So just starting off with the atmosphere. You could tell guys were out there. It was a lot of excitement, a lot of energy in the air. Once those guys put those pads on, now it's time, to start really getting after it, man, especially the younger guys. A lot of the vets, some vets, it's a part of the process. It was very, very hot. And they're trying to get through. Of course, they try to put in some work, but then you got guys like Lamar. As always, man, I heard him do an interview after. He just talked about how he's probably more excited now than when he even got in the league, man. You could just see him, he's always energetic. If you've been to any practices, training camps and stuff like that, Lamar just always just looks like a kid out there on the field. It's a really, really, really beautiful thing to watch. But just, the vibes just felt upbeat, felt good out there, man. Felt really, really good out there. But one of the things that's exciting to always notice is that energy when, especially when that like the second unit comes in and the third guys and stuff like that, just to see how they're starting to get after it because they're trying to earn a spot on that team. And things got a little chippy relatively early when that second unit came in. I believe it was the second unit at that time. A little scuffle here and there, you know what I mean? But it wasn't anything too crazy. You kind of like to, see a little bit of that. You want to see a little bit of the edge. As long as things don't get completely out of control, it's not a problem at all. That it was, handled relatively quickly, got guys up off the field, rotated right into the next drills and stuff like that. A lot of really good work today, man. They were out there for a while. Lot of 11 on 11, some good 7 on 7 and things of that nature. Seeing the guys' camaraderie, guys talking to each other, guys, just communicating pretty well out there. So I want to start off and just go down a line of a few things that were noticed, try to keep my eyes on as much stuff as possible. You can't see everything, but just want to point out this. I'm going to start off with someone, who's not, as of right now, doesn't appear to be, guaranteed a spot. I mean, this position is stacked, but I want to say, someone who stood out to me, especially over the several days, but definitely yesterday, had at least 3 really good catches, and just brought a lot of energy to everything that was out there, was tight end number 84, Zaire Mitchell-Patton. It's been in the league on and off, practice squad and stuff like that, with the Cleveland Browns in 2002. Been a part of the Ravens practice squad and stuff like that since last year. But been noticing over the last several days, like when somebody is noticeable and not for a bad reason, that means clearly it's something good. But yesterday, like I said, he had about 3 really good catches, was energetic. After one of the catches that he broke and got deep down the field, man, he just started celebrating and just bringing the energy and getting everybody and pumped. Was a little nervous because he got so excited when he's doing his celebration that his leg looked like it's buckled just a tad. Buckled just a tad. And was like, oh, chill out, man. You don't need nothing crazy to happen. It's still, early in training camp. But that was really, really good to see him, He's a big dude, man. Really big dude. Slim, but cut up. And just, I don't know, man. You know, you got several guys already over him. And Charlie Kolar, Isaiah Likely, and Mark Andrews. So I'm not sure we'll get in. Maybe some special teams, maybe this, maybe that. But I don't know. But I like what I've been seeing a lot. And, man, I'm rooting for the guy. Somebody else, when we talk about that third safety position, Beau Brade, to me, looked pretty good just recently in general. But yesterday, man, he had a nice closeout on a swing pass, I believe it was, to Keaton Mitchell. And, man, if it was a game, salute the guy, Keaton. I'm going to speak about him in a quick minute. I'm not going to make this too long, but he would have blew him up, man. And he just looked comfortable out there, you know, in that back. Him and Sanusi Kane were both back there. Nothing looked crazy against those guys, but Beau Brade, just a few little things, just positioning, you know, keeping his eyes on everything. I really like how he's looked and rooting for him. Anybody who's checked us out knows that I've been rooting for him. You know, he was very nice. He's from Maryland, similar to how Mitchell Patton's from Maryland as well. Rooting for all guys from Maryland. But his mom, Beau Brade's mom, was real nice to me and my lady. So just definitely rooting for him. Guy who can, you know, go out there. He lays some hits down and stuff like that. Wishing well on his progression. So he looked really, really solid yesterday from what I've seen. A key one that I think, you know, a lot of people are also rooting for as well. Devontez Walker, you know, had a few good catches yesterday. You know, throughout this training camp so far that I've seen, he's looked pretty solid. You know, he's had a few good plays here and there. I know during mini camps and stuff like that, I believe people were saying he was looking good, looking sharp, looking strong, looking fast. And he does look fast. He looks very comfortable for what I'm seeing. You know, I don't know, maybe, you know, the coaches and stuff like that, maybe seeing some other things and things of that nature. But I don't think, I think he looks pretty good. You know, I like him as a depth piece. I like him as a young guy who's growing and emerging. I like with the progression I'm seeing so far. And that's a guy, when they drafted him, I like the pick. I like the pick, spoke about it. I said, I think he can be really good, you know, down the line and stuff of that nature. I was hoping he can get a little more playing time last year. But, you know, everybody talks about it. He finally got his touchdown against the Giants, did a few things here and there. So, but yeah, he's been making some plays, man, making some plays all throughout the training camp since I've been there, since we've been there, and just want to spotlight him because that's somebody, you know, when it's a young guy like that, man, you want the development to go well and for them to keep progressing because it's only, you know, you want to stay in-house if you can. You know what I mean? You want to keep guys. You want to make sure those guys pan out when they get drafted, especially, you know, third round, second round, first round, stuff like that. You know, so it's not a waste. And to me, so far, he's been looking good. Keaton Mitchell, man. Keaton Mitchell is back. He's been back now. And he just looks really good, really fast. He looks strong. And he's always bringing a lot of good positive energy and stuff like that whenever I see him. I think he's ready. It's going to be interesting how they're going to try to implement him. I'm thinking I've heard a few things about the kickoff, which would be pretty dope. You know, that running back vision, that speed, a little bit of that power would be interesting, especially since they've altered the kickoff rules again to incentivize people to actually kick the ball and keep it in play. So, but yeah, Derrick Henry, you know, you got it's what's going to happen with that, but very excited because he looks good. He looks really good. Want to speak a little bit about some things, you know, that may be concerning, may not be as concerning. I'm not really quite sure where it is yet, but Tyler Loop, I think he missed like 3 field goals yesterday. The first one, if I'm not mistaken, was under 50, and I was like, ooh. And he missed another one. You could hear the people like, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, that is concerning. Listen, he has he can kick. He's got a boot. I watched him kick. It was no pressure, no pads, no anything. The previous time was at training camp. and he kicked it off the tee or whatever from the 40 on the opposite side of the field and looked like he had at least another 8 or 9 yards with no problem. So his leg is there, but yeah, he had a really good day that day. I believe he was like 10 for 10. He kicked the 63-yarder and everything. He looked good, but the last one, it was a little shaky, man. And you get concerned, especially with the 6th round pick. But the reason, should you not be as concerned, the 2 days I've seen Hoyland kick, I believe Hoyland was 3 for 3 or 4 for 4 yet the last day. But even the day prior, the first day of training camp I went to, I don't believe I've seen him miss a kick yet. I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe I've seen him miss a kick. And he looks good. He looks confident. He kicks it. It seems like from a little bit lower, and it goes in, but it looks very straight just about every time. Like I said, he looks confident. He looks like, hey, I'm not, it's a competition. He's looking like he could be the kicker. I'm not sure yet. They got a lot of time left, so we'll see about that. But yeah, it was a little concerning with Loop because, of course, when a guy has a leg like that, like can kick like that, and is the first, kicker ever drafted by the Ravens, you kind of automatically think, oh yeah, hopefully that's the guy. But at the end of the day, you got to get the guy who's best. That's what's most important, and that's what you're rooting for. So, the kicker competition is going to be interesting, and may the best man win. As we start to get to some of the more notable names, Charlie Kolar, he's been looking just very solid, very strong, and it looks like he's in excellent shape. Got a nice one-handed bobble touchdown. I believe it was on or in the vicinity of Roquan Smith, if I'm not mistaken. There were a lot of flags and stuff thrown out. Some guys were asking for penalties and stuff like that, but it was an excellent catch. I know some of the things that people don't pay attention to is I've always spoke about Charlie Kolar. He looks, not only is he just good at blocking, I've paid attention to him making a number of really solid catches, just periods during the season and training camp and stuff like that. And he looks like he's up in his level. So we're rooting for him. That tight end situation is stacked, man. A lot of depth there. So very, 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 very excited for that. Derrick Henry, man. He's Derrick Henry. He's going to look like Derrick Henry. He's going to move like Derrick Henry. But gosh, he just looks so fast, man. He always looks fast, but he's aging, but he just looks just as fast, just as strong. And we know the work that he puts in off the field and stuff like that during the off season and things like that. It's, people constantly talk about, his diet and how he works out and takes care of himself. But one of the main things is Derrick Henry, man. I think he caught about 2 passes, one swing one and stuff like that. They've been spreading him to the out like a receiver. I've noticed that a few times this training camp. But man, he caught one yesterday. Whoo! And cut it up, man. Big play. It would have been really, really nice in the game, man. Of course, once he gets a full head of steam and gets past all the big guys up front, it's dangerous for people. It's very dangerous, and a lot of business decisions get made. So to see him doing that, and the way he was rolling, man, I was like, whoo, that guy. He looked good, man. He looked really, really good yesterday. I expect nothing less, but it just was really nice to see him just catching and just looking fluid out there, fast and cutting and stuff like that. Really, really, really good to see that from Derrick Henry. Getting close to wrapping this up, man. The secondary looked pretty solid. A few plays. There were a lot of penalties. I know they're working on cadence and stuff like that. Harbaugh talked about how important that is to do now and not just try to just get through plays because, you want to get in that practice of doing it, now and not trying to, wait to the end. And then that's how you have a lot more mistakes later on down the line. But D-Hop, DeAndre Hopkins, man. He had a few catches, but he had one, and it's been posted now by the Ravens official pages, social pages. But he had a nice one. Excellent thrown pass by Lamar so that the DB couldn't get it. But one-handed catch over Nate Wiggins. Now, A lot of being talked about, was it a pass interference? Was he grabbing his face mask? This, that, and the third. It was a little chippy, but regardless of how it went down, just excellent to see DeAndre Hopkins, man. I mean, this is about, I think, three really, really excellent high level catches by him since he's been at training camp, man. I mean, listen, some people think he's just going to be out there to be a vet and make a play here and there. I think DeAndre Hopkins has an opportunity to do some really, really special things for this team. I know we've talked about it on the Ravens Huddle as Anquan Bolden-esque, hopefully. That's what happens. And, he helped take the Ravens over the top to get their last Super Bowl. So really good to see that from DeAndre Hopkins. But yeah, the secondary looks solid. Malachi Stark, I want to just say about him, he just looks relatively comfortable out there, man. I know he's a rookie and it's still early, but not a crazy amount of plays his way, you know what I mean? Which is a good thing in a lot of ways. He had a nice, really good closeout yesterday, similar to like Beau Brade, in which if this was a game, he would have stopped a potential large gain. So you could say he just looks comfortable from what I'm seeing. Looks very, very good, very comfortable out there. Very excited to see, I've been having big and high expectations for him this year. So it's really, really, really good to see how he's been looking so far. Mike Green, man. Whew. I saw something, a video post about him doing team drills and just looking like a bull. But out there on that field, man, he just looked good, man. He got in the backfield. It looked like he could have had a sack yesterday. He also had a chase down. I believe that was on Keaton Mitchell, who is very, very fast, of course. And for him to cut across and would have gotten that tackle on him, looked good, looked strong, just looks comfortable. It's so exciting to see the rookies, especially your first couple of picks, who play very, very important positions and positions of need, look really, really comfortable and solid early. There were a few injuries. Some guys are out. I don't, from all things said, it doesn't sound like it's too crazy. Rashad Bateman, they said he was a little sick or under the weather or something like that. So I believe he was sent home. So I didn't see him. I noticed that Jair Alexander apparently had some knee swelling. They say it's not that serious. You get a little nervous, especially with him because, of his injury history. But we're going to take them for it. He's a vet. It might not be anything too crazy. I think they say they had to have it drained. So hopefully it's nothing too serious. And you just move on. Jalen Armour-Davis, I think they said something happened. I don't think the injury was disclosed yet. But he will have an MRI. They said they don't believe it's that serious. We heard it, vet tight end, not tight end, QB, CB at this point. Also, earlier there were talks of him possibly playing some safety. So, versatile guy. Hopefully everything is good with that. And Bilal Cohn, the rookie cornerback that fell on his shoulder the day before, they said they expect him to be back soon. So, that's just some injury things. This training camp, things are going to happen. But so far, for the most part, largely, guys have been relatively healthy. So that is a good thing. Mark Andrews, just to get back on an individual player before I forget, had a number of nice, really, really nice catches that would have been for some big gains. Man, he just looks really energized. He looks fast. He looks really, really in really good shape. With all of the things that happen and stuff like that, and things said, hopefully this is a big year and he plays very well in the playoffs. That's all we want at the end of the day. All we want. But he looked really good, man. He looked like he was playing for something, and which I don't know if that'd be the case or not, but he looked very, very good. He had about 3 really nice catches yesterday, maybe even 4. So that's a good thing. Lastly, I just want to, talk about chemistry and things and probably just guys, a lot to do maybe about something and not about nothing. But one thing I noticed was the entire secondary looked like, for the most part, I could tell just from the faces from where I was at, which is after like practice, just sitting in a circle and talking to each other. One would get up, one would stand up. I know there's Malachi at one point was standing up, Kyle Hamilton, then of course Marlon Humphrey. There was Wiggs out there. There was a bunch of guys out there. They were sitting and they were just talking and communicating about whatever it was. And like I said, I don't know what was going on, but what I do know is I just liked the way it looked. It was about 20 extra minutes, maybe 25 extra minutes just after, even while most of the other guys were going inside or probably getting some individual work still out there. Those guys were just sitting there bonding in whichever way possible it was and just, doing what they're doing. And I know Lamar and those guys looked pretty good today. I know the secondary looked really good the other day before that. I know Marlon Humphrey has been big on, even if they play well in training camp, they want to get some turnovers. There were no turnovers the last two by them, even the practice where they just were really, really, really playing well. But yeah, they didn't look crazy, they didn't look bad or anything. This most recent visit to training camp, but those guys just trying to get on one accord, it seems like, and spending time with each other is really a good thing to witness. So, yeah, man, that's it. The band will be fully back together later this week, but had to get this in there because it's good to see when those guys get those pads on and start getting some contact. It'll get a little more heavier with the contact coming up, especially with the young players, because they're fighting for their football lives right now. So getting prepared for that preseason and things of that nature. We appreciate y'all for huddling up, man. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and follow us on all our socials. We really appreciate y'all. Huddle up.